So we'll begin. Well, welcome everybody. Really good to see you. My name's Shaki Padar, and I'm an ordained member of the Triratna Buddhist order, and we're a non-monastic order, and we were founded in 1968. So we're very new, really, in Buddhist terms as a tradition. But we tend to teach Buddhism in a way that is more accessible to us in the West. We teach the whole of Buddhism, not one particular part, like as many other traditions do. So anyway, welcome on this very grey morning, and I wanted to say something about change in our lives. To do with this meditation. The weather has changed suddenly, and that can feel a bit disappointing, really, after all the sunny times we've had. But this is what happens, and it happens in other areas of our lives. In fact, it happens in all the areas of our lives. And the Buddha called these changes the worldly winds. And sometimes nice things happen, sometimes things happen that we'd rather didn't. And sometimes it's just a bit grey and boring. So our lives keep switching from the things we like to the things we don't like as much, or don't like at all, in fact. And we have a tendency as human beings to react to this, because quite naturally we want to be happy. So we do everything we can to be happy, and we try and organise our lives so that happiness exists more often than anything else. And we think this works. Actually, we have a tendency to try and manipulate life so that we get what we want and not what we don't want. But actually, it works to a certain extent, but it doesn't work very effectively. So we still get the things we don't want. We still don't get the things we want. And this puts us into states of mind that are a bit negative, or very negative. So the particular situation we're in at the moment with the lockdown has its difficulties. Some of us are quite enjoying it a lot of the time, but some of the time it's a bit disturbing. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't even know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. Or when our lives will get back to normal. There can be friction with people we live with. There can be the loss of things that we like doing, which can feel a bit like grief. And it becomes quite difficult sometimes. So we get into states of anxiety, worry, a sense of not wanting to be here. We might be bored. And this makes us unhappy. So the Buddha said that in order to be happy, it's not about states of euphoria. It's much more about contentment. It's much more about accepting the way things are. You maybe heard that phrase before. So this meditation is about that, really. And if we can accept the way things are, then it becomes a lot easier. The Buddha told a story of the twin arrows, and he said things happen in our lives that we can't avoid. Things go wrong, people die, we get ill, we get old, we fall out with people say things to us that we don't like, and that's painful, and it can't not be painful in many ways. But what we do is then we add a second arrow to the pain by in our minds just going over and over and over the circumstances that we don't like. So if somebody says something to us that's hurtful, we have a tendency to tell stories about it, rehearse conversations with them in our heads, and just keep on turning it over all the time, and that isn't helpful. So it's our minds here that are the problem. Our minds have developed over our lives and over our as in Buddhism, over our previous lives, certainly in our in our conditions as human beings, we've got minds that like to constantly be active, and so something happens, and our minds keep going on about it. So this meditation that we're going to do is basically a body relaxation meditation, but you can do it in a slightly different way to just meet any discomfort or difficult feelings that are going on at any one time. Excuse me. Um, so what we can do, instead of getting caught up in our difficult feelings, we can actually help them. What we normally do is that if something goes wrong, something's uncomfortable, for whatever it is, then we want to get away from it. We want to be happy, so we want to get away from it. But that actually has a tendency to make it worse. We create conflict within our minds. So by trying to turn away from difficulties and difficult situations, we make them worse, in fact, which is a bit unfortunate. So what Buddhists do, what the Buddha suggested, is that we turn towards our pain. Now, this is very counterintuitive, to turn towards our difficulties, turn towards our pain. But in fact, it works. And it works because we can then see what's happening. We can completely see what's happening. We're being honest and open, and we have a way of dealing with things rather than trying to avoid them. So I'll just give a brief explanation of what happens in this meditation. So when something unpleasant happens to us, you may or may not have noticed, you probably have, that we get very unpleasant feelings in the body. So we're trying to detach the sense of these feelings from whatever the emotion is. So if we're feeling angry emotionally, then we get a tight feeling in our chest. If we feel let down by someone or disappointed, then we get a sinking feeling or a heavy feeling in our belly. So we're not looking at the actual emotion, we're looking at the feelings in the body. And this is really important. These feelings are called Vedana, or at least the mind labels them, these feelings, as pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. And this mental labeling of these bare sensations in our body is called Vedana, but you don't need to remember that. So what we're doing is we're looking, when we get upset or angry or disappointed or upset in any way, we're looking at the raw feelings in the body, not at the thoughts in the head. And this is really important. So we're trying not to think about these feelings. We're just trying to notice the feelings, unpleasant though they may be, and to turn towards them. Now, here's the good bit. We're turning towards them with a sense of deep kindness and acceptance. You can imagine that if a small child comes running to you, crying, very, very hurt and upset, then you wouldn't turn away. What would you do? You would turn to the child. You would give the child a hug. You would talk to it. You would look after it. You would care for the child. And that's exactly what we want to do with these difficult sensations in our body. We're not going to think them through. We're just going to be with them, snuggle up to them in a way, welcome them, and just be very, very kind to them. And this, as I say, is totally counterintuitive. But if we can do it, then magic happens. Magic happens. The feelings begin, these difficult feelings begin to moderate. And quite often, they will just go. Maybe not straight away, but if we keep doing it in our meditation and outside of our meditation, just as we're going through our day, if we keep with these feelings with a sense of kindness, they will eventually disappear, mostly. So that's what we're going to try and do. And you may be feeling fantastic this morning. You may be feeling really good. So that's great. I don't want you to feel that you've got difficulties if you haven't. But maybe as we go through this, you can just get the idea of what we're trying to do. And when you do have difficult feelings, then maybe this will be of some help. You don't have to do this just in meditation. You can sit on a chair watching television and do this. Just phase out the television and really come into contact with your body. So we'll begin. I won't talk anymore. I've said enough. But I hope that's useful and gives you an idea of what we're going to do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to explore the body, basically, and we're going to look for whatever feelings there are, for pleasant feelings, for unpleasant feelings, and for feelings that are somewhere in between. And it's just identifying the raw feelings themselves and having a sense of kindness towards them. Okay. So we'll begin. You can do this lying on the bed, sitting on a chair, sitting on the floor, with your eyes closed if you wish, or even slightly open if you feel better that way. And we'll be about half an hour. So I've done a lot of talking, and that won't have helped your minds to be relaxed maybe. So just enjoying the silence for a few seconds. And just having a sense of yourself, sitting or lying here this Saturday morning. How are you feeling right now? Mentally? Are you feeling mentally a bit busy? Or is the mind fairly relaxed? And what's the feeling tone in your mind? What's the sense of feeling in your mind? Is it pleasant or unpleasant? Or somewhere in between? In other words, negative or positive? Feeling a bit down or feeling quite happy? And really, it doesn't matter how you are in your mind. It doesn't matter at all, in fact, because this is where we're starting from, and you can't begin anywhere else. So just having a sense of acceptance to our mental states, whatever they are, they're okay. Just the softness and the kindness towards them. And how are we emotionally? Do we feel happy or sad? Anxious? Whatever emotions are coursing through our minds and our bodies, just having a sense of kindness to them. They're just how we are this morning. And as human beings, we have our ups and downs, and we really need to be kind to ourselves. We're doing our best all the time. And taking in the whole body, whole of our physical being. How are we physically? You might notice pleasant bits in the body, warmth, tingling, aliveness, and there may be unpleasant bits too. There may be strange feelings in the belly or the abdomen, aches in the back and the neck, tightness in the face, achiness in the legs, or other kinds of unpleasant sensations. So we're just going to begin by just accepting all of these, good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, just having a sense of kindness towards our body. Our bodies are so important to us. They've carried us this far through life, and they may not be perfect, but they do their best for us. So can we have a sense of gratitude to our bodies? Just view them with a kindly light, kindly mind. So we're going to begin our journey through the body at the shoulders. Shoulders and the neck area, in fact. So how does that feel this morning? Does it feel relaxed or a little bit tight? Or maybe quite painful for some people? So just honestly noticing how it is. Does it feel pleasant or unpleasant or neutral? These feelings in the shoulders and the lower neck. So if it feels good, that's fine. If it feels a bit unpleasant in some way, a bit painful, then just turn fully towards it in your mind with a sense of real kindness. Any pain in our bodies is trying to tell us something. It's trying to wake us up to the reality of an unsatisfactory situation, a tenseness or a tightness or a pain. So turning towards the pain with a real sense of kindness. And just having a sense of friendliness and acceptance to it. In a way, breathing into it. Just really being kind to it, snuggling up to any discomfort. If you find any resistance to doing this, then just be kind to the resistance. Just be kind to any opinions or views that are arising that don't agree. And you might notice as we breathe out, the shoulders drop. So we can use this as a means of relaxing. So we breathe in and the shoulders rise. We breathe out and the shoulders fall. So as they fall, just letting any tension drop away. Just relaxing on each out breath. And then relaxing even more on the next. And the next. Letting any tightness or tension from the shoulders and neck just drop away through the body. Going to move up around the head now. Move up the back of the neck to the crown of the head. And just see if you can feel the tightness of the skin on the crown of the head. The skin stretched across the skull. Can you feel it? If you can't, that's okay. Just staying open, though, to the fact that you might be able to feel it. And being curious. Moving around to the forehead. Now I'm guessing, but I would guess that you're probably frowning. So just noticing that. How does the frowning feel? It feels a bit unpleasant, doesn't it? A bit tight, and we do tend to do this. We tend to hold our foreheads in a very tight way. So just allowing the forehead to relax, the skin to smooth out. How does that feel? And how about the face? How are you holding the face? We tend to present ourselves to the world in a particular way. We hold our faces. We don't need to do that. Just let your facial muscles relax. Just let the skin on your face sag. Who cares? Nobody's looking. Relaxing the whole of the face. Letting the eyes be soft behind the eyelids. The chin slightly tucked in, the jaw slightly open. Just checking the forehead again. Just relaxing the whole of the face. And we're going to move down, back to the shoulders now, down past the throat to the shoulders. And moving down to the upper chest. Just noticing how the chest rises and falls as we breathe. How it expands when we breathe in and contracts when we breathe out. So how does that feel? If you're relaxed, it might feel very pleasant. the breath coming in and out. When we're relaxed and we breathe in, there is quite a pleasant feeling in the chest. On the other hand, it might feel tight, which will feel slightly unpleasant. So if you have a tightness in your chest, if it feels unpleasant, slightly unpleasant, then not trying to change it, but instead just turning towards it with a sense of deep love for your body. Just nurturing the pain or the tightness. Snuggling up to it, cuddling it like you would a small child. Looking after the pain, the tightness. Moving down the body now to the abdomen and the belly, the lower half of the torso. So these two areas are very prone to both pleasant and unpleasant sensations. We get a lot of our feelings in here. So how are they for you right now? Is the abdomen and the belly, does it feel pleasant or unpleasant? Or somewhere in between, neutral? So if we have a pleasant feeling, that's great. But sometimes we won't. Sometimes we might have a heaviness, we might have a churning, a tightness, even a nauseous kind of feeling. So when this happens, it's really good to acknowledge it fully, turning towards any discomfort with a real sense of kindness. Just really seeing it. And in fact, welcoming any discomfort, any difficult feelings in this area, any unpleasant sensations. In a way, welcoming them in. Some of us actually talk to our unpleasant sensations in our bodies. You might say, "Oh, hello. Oh, there you are. Oh, come on in. You are very welcome. You are very loved. Just stay there and I'll look after you." In a way, it's like the small child again. We wouldn't turn away a distressed child. We would look after it. So it's just the same with our feelings. we can really help them. We can turn towards them and give them love and care. And if we do that, rather than trying to get rid of them, if we look after them, they will begin to go. They will begin to moderate. And even if this takes some time, at least they won't get worse in the meantime. So we're moving down the body now, the front of the legs, the quadriceps, the big muscles at the top of each leg. So if you're sitting on a chair or kneeling, sitting on a cushion, you might find that these muscles feel a bit stretched, a bit tight. So it might feel slightly unpleasant. Our minds might be labeling this feeling here as slightly unpleasant. But it's just a feeling in the body. It's just a sensation. So if there's a tightness, having a sense of real kindness towards it. Moving down to the knees. Some of us have problems with our knees, big bony structures. What can you feel in the knees? Does it feel pleasant or unpleasant? Whatever it is, having a kind response. Moving down the shins, more bone. Can you feel anything in the shins? Maybe the touch of clothing on the skin. Maybe even a sense of the bone. Might sound strange. Moving on to the upper part of the foot. Maybe feel clothing here. What else? And the toes. Can you feel your toes? Give them a wiggle. See what you can feel. The big toes, fairly easy to feel. How about the others? It's quite a challenge to feel each toe individually. Maybe you can. Moving to the sole of the foot. Now here's the thing. The sole of the foot is so full of energy, tingling, warmth. Can you feel that? And how is your mind labeling that? Is it thinking it's pleasant or unpleasant or neutral? It could be any of those. For me, it's very pleasant. but some people might find it slightly unpleasant. Depends on how we see these things. So if it feels a bit odd or a bit uncomfortable when you notice this tingling in the sole of the foot, just having a kindness towards both the sensation and yourself. Moving round to the heel now. You feel anything in the heel? The ankle? And the calf muscles. Big bunch of muscles here. How do they feel? Do they feel tight or relaxed? Pleasant or unpleasant? Or neutral? Moving up the back of the leg to the top of the leg, the hamstrings. Again, how are they? Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral? And then whatever the sensations, having a sense of kindness towards whatever's going on. And moving to the sitting bones, as we call them, in the buttocks. Just noticing if you can find a place where your body ends and whatever you're sitting on begins. It's quite interesting, I always think. Can you actually tell where your body ends and the seat or the floor begins, or the bed? Or is it just one mass of feelings? In fact, when we touch an object, all the feeling is in our body. So it's all the signals coming to us through our nerve endings. Moving up through the hips now, and to the back. What does the back feel like? The lower back, maybe achy. If it's achy, if it feels a bit unpleasant, just bringing kindness to the achiness. And the same in the upper back. When I started meditating, I used to get a lot of backache. And I realised now it was tension. I was just trying too hard. So if there's any pain in the back, if it feels unpleasant, just having a sense of acceptance and kindness to it, breathing into it, not fighting it in any way, not creating a second arrow. And we're back to the shoulders. How do they feel now? Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? And we're going to move down the arms now. The upper arms. What can you feel there? Tingling, warmth. And the lower arms. And just homing in on the wrist area. Can you feel your pulse? Might be quite subtle. But just being open to feeling the pulse in the wrist. And finally moving to the hands. The back of the hands, how do they feel? And the palms of the hands. Probably a lot of tingling, warmth, even dampness. And moving down the fingers to the fingertips. Can you feel the energy there? The tingling. Does that feel pleasant or unpleasant or neutral? And finally bringing awareness to the whole body, the whole of our breathing, feeling, energy-full body. And just for the last few moments, just being with that, with a sense of kindness and care and gratitude. I'm going to ring the bell in just a moment, and when I do, just taking your time to end the meditation, being gentle on yourself, coming round slowly. There's no rush. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it helps you to relax and start the weekend off in good form. I'm doing another meditation at 9 o'clock, which will be following the breath. You're welcome to join us on that if you wish. And another one at 10 o'clock, which is about gratitude and kindness again, loving kindness and gratitude. So you're welcome to those, or if you're not going to make it, then have a really good weekend, and hope to see you again next week. If you can manage to give us a small donation, we'd be very grateful. There's a link actually in the text on Facebook, um, and anything you can give, a few pounds would be really appreciated. We don't have any outside funds, so we do rely on donations to keep us going. And normally we're not just on Facebook, we normally are in a physical location at the Quaker Centre. Anyway, thank you for joining me and wishing you all the best for the day. Thank you.